Alicia Fitness Health makes us with self-rising flour, so I make it with my version of self-rising flour. Because if Regina George wears camo pants and flip-flops, I'm gonna wear camo pants and flip-flops. Hope my camera doesn't fall this time. Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm gonna show you guys how I make my 2-ingredient pizza dough. So right now, I'm just measuring out some baking powder. And then I do some pink salt. You can use table salt. You can use whatever salt you want to use. I just grind away. I wish I had a better angle, but I don't. I use pink salt because it's cute, because it's pink, and I have it. You use like about 1/4 teaspoon. It's just my little mixture. I have to use baking powder and salt because I don't have self-rising flour. I only have all-purpose flour. You can buy self-rising flour, but I use all-purpose flour more often than I use self-rising. Yeah. So have all-purpose flour. You can get whatever brand you want. It doesn't really fucking matter. You can be bougie and get the other kind, but whatever. I do 2 of these scoops, which means it's 1/2 cup. So I do 1/2 cup. Throw in the big ass bowl. Throw this shit in this bowl. And then the secret is the fucking Greek yogurt. Never in my days did I think I would enjoy Greek yogurt in pizza dough. I use the Fage brand. Fage? I don't fucking know way. Fage. I use that brand. It is the thick, it's the thickest, like thick with 5 C's yogurt. It's a little more expensive than like cheaper. It's a little more expensive than cheaper brands. It's a little more expensive than like store brand Greek yogurt. So it's the same amount of flour. It's half a cup of Greek yogurt, just plain. I get the plain 0% milk fat. Just mix that shit up. So I measured out my 1/4 cup. And I'm gonna do another one. Do another one. There you go. It looks like this. It's done. So you just mix it up. It takes me a while to mix this shit up. But eventually it gets to, so it'll get to this consistency where it's hella lumpy, kind of looks like children's Play-Doh. You know, the kind that's like safe for them to eat. But you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. So now you can see, you see that it's less separate. There's chunks. It's very chonky. You gotta make sure you get all the stuff off the spoon. You can use a whisk. I used to use a rubber spatula, but mine broke and I haven't bought a new one yet, so I'm just using a spoon. You just gotta keep mixing. Eventually it'll get to a place where it forms its own ball, and that's kind of what your goal is. Yeah. See, now you can see that it's kind of like, it's kind of doughy. You can work with it like with your hands from here, but I just prefer mixing it with my spoon and then working with it with like my hands or a rolling pin on the pan instead of getting my hands hella dirty. That's just my personal preference. I found, so I used to use gluten-free flour. See, now it's in a dough ball. Now it's just a little ball of pizza dough. I used to use gluten-free flour, but it used to be hella sticky. And I'm talking hella sticky. Like, I would have to coat my hands in fucking cooking spray olive oil, all that shit. A mess. So I like to just roll it out on the pan. I have a flat little pizza pan. I'll spray cooking spray on it. You can use whatever cooking spray your little heart desires. I just use vegetable spray because I don't give a fuck. I used to use olive oil spray, but I just didn't buy it this time. I use avocado, canola. Do what you want to do. So now you have a little dough ball. I work with it in my hands. You can tell it's ready because it doesn't stick. Like, I'm rolling with it and it's like barely sticking to me. That's just straight Greek yogurt. It's like barely sticking to my hands. That's when you know this shit is ready to fucking go. So you got it. You throw that shit on the pan. Bam. Throw that shit on the pan. I have a rolling pin. I coat it with flour, or I spray it with cooking spray, or sometimes both. It really just depends on the mood of the day. I coat it in flour and just roll it. I roll it out on the pan. I find that to be easiest because if I try to transfer this shit, I always rip it. I always rip it. I'm gonna see if I can move y'all down or something so you can see what I'm doing. It's shit. Can't see any. Bruh. All you see is my fucking dirty ass. There we go. Angles for days, bro. Just roll this shit out. This pan's kind of hard. This pan is kind of hard because it has the edges. So when it gets like close to the edge, I end up using just like my hands. You can make it as thin as you want. I try to make it pretty thin just so it cooks a little crispier. I just prefer a crispy dough. Oh, see, it's starting to stick. I need to put more flour on it. I just personally prefer a crispier base, especially since it's a thinner crust. It doesn't really rise. Which, I haven't tried to make this without baking soda, or not baking soda, baking powder. I haven't tried to make this without baking powder. I really don't know if it'll make a difference or not, because it's not like you prove the dough or anything. You just kind of slam it on there, you know? I don't know if it'll change the consistency or anything. I just know Felicia, at Felicia Fitness Health, she makes this with self-rising dough, so I make this with self-rising dough. Because if Regina George wears camo pants and flip-flops, I'm gonna wear camo pants and flip-flops. You know? Yeah, dig? You want pizza, cowboy? Me too, buddy. This is what we're looking at, dog. This is what we're looking at, alright? I like to throw a tiddly bit garlic powder on it just because I fuck with garlic, and I also forgot to put it in my dough. I usually put it inside of it, but I'll just throw it on top. So I use this cheese, a mixture of this sauce, and this sauce. This is just generic pizza sauce. This is the G. Hughes sugar-free barbecue sauce. This shit is a fucking game changer. I tell you what. It is a fucking game changer. So I just use this spoon that I mix the dough with because I cannot be bothered. I truly cannot. And I've done this a million gajillion times. So there's the barbecue sauce part. And then I use a little bit of this pizza sauce just to make it taste a little more pizza-y. A little more pizza-y. And just mix that shit together. I'm gonna weigh out my 2 ounces of mozzarella cheese. You can add whatever your little heart desires on this pizza. I swear to you, it will taste delicious. It will taste delicious. So I'm just gonna weigh out my cheese really quick. The sauce is on this mug. Just sprinkle this shit on. Sprinkle this shit on, alright? Let's get this fucking party started. So I pre-made my chicken. I just took 5 ounces of chicken and that same barbecue sauce, a little bit of sriracha, garlic, salt, and pepper. I just diced it up and tossed it in a pan on the stove. Cooked it that way. I have raw broccoli in here because I fuck with broccoli on my pizza. I'm sorry. My dirty ass food scale. I fuck with broccoli on my pizza. And then I have a piece of turkey bacon in here that I already cooked and I just crushed it up. So I'm gonna throw this on and then we'll put it in the oven. There we go, that's what we're looking like. We're looking great. So I put my pizza in my oven specifically at 450 for 12 minutes and 30 seconds. That's just the way I've dialed it down to my oven because my oven's kind of tricky. It's electric and it's old, so I try to do it the way Felicia does it. I think it's like 400 degrees for 15 minutes and it came out okay, but it wasn't like the best, so I just kind of messed with it for my oven and like my liking. That's what we got. I'll show you guys in 12 minutes what this little pizza's gonna look like. So this is what she ends up looking like, and then you can just quickly go bloop. She slides her right on over. This is editing Geo. Sorry, I have the worst angles on the entire planet Earth. I don't have a tripod, I don't have a selfie stick, I just have my phone and I'm trying my best. So subscribe if you want me to have better angles so I can buy a camera and I can buy a tripod. Also, sorry my end footage for my pizza was so ass. I was just hungry and irritated.